Let's have a conversation about palliative distribution and the role politicians play in effecting it, or perhaps even complicating it. I think that's a much better word. Because over the years, we've seen politicians take a central role or pivotal role in facilitating the distribution of government interventions, sometimes with the name of constituency projects and things like that. But also, since the emergence of some of these humanitarian initiatives by the federal government, especially against the backdrop of the COVID-19 pandemic, we've seen politicians take an even central role, especially lawmakers, as they also want to facilitate some of these interventions to their constituents, because according to them, they know the people best that need it. However, we've also seen an inequitable distribution of some of these materials, whether it's food items, farm implements, and the likes, to only political supporters of some of these political figures, whether it's on the APC side or on the PDP side. Whichever side of the divide falls onto, we see this politicization of distribution of interventions to the needy, so much so that they miss the targets at the end of the day. Over the past few days, we've seen the National Assembly, especially the Senate, talk about how they need to be included in the recent plan by the federal government to distribute palliatives to especially farmers, for instance, going by what is happening right now to our agriculture sector when it comes to food production. So those 60 trucks that will be going to the state governors. Apparently, the Senate also wants 2 each for every senator and 1 for every House of Representative member, so that they can facilitate onward delivery to their constituents. We're asking you a simple question. What do you think about politicians taking part in this distribution framework or mechanism to deliver palliatives to Nigerians? Give us your thoughts on this one. Give us a call in. The numbers are showing on your TV screen. Sunday, your 2 cents on this one.
Yeah. We all know what the experience have been. The COVID-19 period was an eye-opener, basically, where people broke into warehouses only to discover that palliatives that have been shared were stocked up there. And in other cases, what the politicians did was to re-bag these palliatives with new branded packagings that would suggest that they are the ones giving out these materials rather than the federal government. For others, they kept them until some of the material that even expired. And so from those kind of lessons, you begin to understand the kind of apprehension that has greeted this new proposition. Basically.
Exactly. I think we have our first caller. Is he still on the line? Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to the program. Your name, please, and where you're calling from.
My name is Honorable Udoku. I'm calling from Abdullahi, Ebonyi State.
I heard Udoku, but I didn't hear the first name. Hello, Mr. Udoku, are you still there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, please go ahead. How is Abakaliki this morning?
The Abakaliki is fine, except for the general hardship in Nigeria. No fuel, no water, no light. People are just suffering and smiling on the streets of the street.
I understand. Where do you stand on this one? Politicians want to take center stage in distributing it to their constituents because they think they can identify the people that are in need. What do you think?
Yeah, if the federal government of Nigeria has provided palliatives, there must be a channel of distribution. So the choice of politicians is best.
Oh no. Hello? I think that's not fair to add poor network on top of everything else that Mr. Udoku just said right now. But try calling back again, because I would really love to hear what he has to say about this one. Sometimes it could be a force for good. Not all politicians are bad. However, it's safe to say that all our experiences when it comes to their delivery has been less than satisfactory, right, as Nigerians collectively. So what do you think? Should these lawmakers also be given some of these commodities to distribute to their constituents, which more often than not means to their supporters, so that they can guarantee that support ahead of the next election. More often than not, politicians only care about winning the next election. So let's get your call on this one. Let's hear your take. Feel free to give us a call. And also, rules of engagement, please turn down the volume of your TV set when you call in. Someone has just joined the conversation. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Welcome to Daybreak Interactive. Who is on the line and where are you calling from?
Yes, Sunday Honor calling from Cross River State.
Sunday Honor from Cross River State. Did I get that correctly?
Yes.
Okay, good morning.
Yes.
How is Cross River this morning?
Cross River is fine. Very fine and cool.
Go ahead.
Only the hardship that we are facing everywhere and no fuel.
Right. I understand. Go ahead, Mr. Sunday.
I want to contribute to this Daybreak issue on this Palliative sharing by the President of our Constitution.
Yeah, go ahead.
That is a very good idea by the federal government. If only it will not be transferred by the federal representatives, because in Cross River State, I want to sincerely tell you that since the beginning of this government today, Cross River State has never shared any palliative immediately in any neither ward or local government. So I don't know whether this one now, they are just giving it to the House of Representatives to go and share their families. So the federal government will have a good program, good idea. But at the end of the day, they will just destroy the government. I don't know this one this time whether you reach the grassroots for the people who are very in need of this thing that share.
Has your senator or House of Representative member ever shared anything in your community where you've seen people that need it actually receive it?
You have my number there. Go to and show us, because we have seen Bruno, we have seen other states, but in Christmas, which day have you show us where they have shared in Christmas? Call one local government. If you need to come, or do as your way. Seeing the decision of this government, the government is over 1 year. It's over 1 year now. We have been hearing of palliative. Where have they shared? We have been seeing Bruno on your TV screen. We have been seeing Sokoto, Kaduna, another thing that they will share. Which day have they shared in Cross River State? By which local government? Just mention one. If it didn't come a or Dupan or Baleku or Yala or Godan, where did they stay and share any of the presidents that will be hearing every day that the federal government is allocated to state and local government.
Yeah.
So federal government stand their best, but the governors and the heart of the federal and the senator that just descend the good work that the federal government is doing. So they should do something about it. If there is a need for the federal government to set a monitoring team, carry this into the grassroots group. Look at what happened during that time. What is meant for Cross River and Okusa, they think don't want to look today. We are not hearing it again. At the moment they saw federal government will not be hearing again. The one case is that nobody at the end of the day will not hear it again. So what? Where? But I don't know where I will start from. Because when I don't know, because when you according to the when you belong to ATC, you are in heaven. Because the law will not catch you. But if anybody above the law, and what is the federal government had a good idea, had good program. But whether because of this local government autonomy, I don't know where I will start from. The federal government will have good idea. But when they go to grassroots, there is the grassroots that are suffering. We have this talk. The talking is too much. It's more. Let there be action. Let the federal government set a monitor to the monitors of the grassroots. People are from Canada. Let the people follow the right of them. But when you don't let them monitor the local. If it's taken into income, then the federal government should monitor the income of the government. If it's going to do, let the federal government sector do.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Sunday, by the way. I can understand where he's coming from. What do you think about it, monitoring team? Because it's evident that he's saying it's never happened in his locality before. He's looking for evidence.
Mr. Sunday's apprehension is not displaced at all. Even the federal government is suspicious about how some of these interventions just never get to the last mile. You will recall how it was a battle when the federal government tried to even take away the constituency project and domicile them in relevant ministries. So basically, what they were telling the parliamentarians was, identify what project you want us to do in your community, and
allow the instrumentality
agency
of the government to take care of the distribution.
You know, so the whole idea of putting yourself in the process, you know, is distorting, to say the least. Good morning. Your name and where you're calling from?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Tony, as calling from Benue State.
Good morning, Mr. Tony.
How is Otoko this morning?
Thank you. I think anybody can share something. If government is serious in what they are doing, you can even give armed robber something to go and distribute to people. When you give armed robber something, you follow him up with security, follow him with gun. You go where you want to deliver that thing and deliver it. But what our government is doing is that some certain things, they bring it to settle their colleagues. Otherwise, a senator, if you give a senator that is representing his senatorial zone to go and distribute something, you know how many people he's going to give. And you expect him, make sure that you give it to the people that you want that you bring that in for. So there is nothing wrong in giving politicians something to go and give to their people. But what is wrong there is that lack of inspection. And they're deliberately doing it. It's just like politicians, when they bring something to share in words, they give it to their own people and there is no inspection, and they knew that they are just giving it to settle the world leaders. And that is how politicians in Nigeria does their thing. Palliative, if you are bringing palliative, how many people are you going to give? Who is in need of that thing that you are bringing? Can't you, because if you are building house, you will lay a good foundation. If you want that house to stand, you lay a good foundation. If you are spending money, spending Nigerian taxpayers' money to bring something to share to people, you must get data of people that you want to give this thing to. We have bank in Nigeria working. If it is something that you want to send money, you get account number, get their information, and then send money to them. If it is fertilizer, you get the information of those people that need fertilizer and make sure you get to them. The politicians, quite unfortunate in Nigeria, they bring this thing to settle themselves deliberately. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Tony. Always good to hear from you, as always, one of our regular callers.
You know what interests me every time Tony calls is the clarity of his network. I'm not sure what's happening in Otukpo, you know, compared to some of the calls we get from nearby communities. But thank you always for, you know, the diversity that you bring to our conversation, especially as it borders on your local community. I mean, it's more than
I think it's a no-brainer as a conversation, isn't it?
The place of data.
But also, to his point exactly, it's politicians managing politicians. Because the president understands what they're going to do, whether it's the governors or the lawmakers. But let's speak to our next caller before we finish that line of talk. Hello, good morning.
Morning.
Your name, please?
I want to refer to Abua women protest in River State.
River State. How is Port Harcourt this morning?
It's cool. Fair weather.
Go ahead.
The up is due, maybe rain or not, I don't know, but just go to the business.
Okay.
According to Abua women protesting for their farm yard and everything.
Yeah.
You see, what will have this area, mostly from Akwa Ibom, Cross River, Rivers, Imo, Abia, Bayelsa, and some part of Delta, is that Shell is trying their best to pay some of this, them. But there's a middleman that goes to Shell. If Shell want to pay 2 million, they can collect only 1 million for themselves alone. This money is meant for the community. They take it alone for themselves, and the balance of 1 million, Shell staff them. Who has no oil in their area will make use of that balance on detriment of the community and the people. In this place I call you, that's what's going on there. Even the scholarship scheme they set up is all down now. They have all covered to themselves and that different company. Nothing is happening again. So that's what we find ourselves. The politicians, the chiefs, the top ranking officers in these areas, That's what they are doing. That's why this share money doesn't enter to the where it's supposed to reach. As human application now, they go to the shell, collect money. Instead of going to the actual money shell want to pay, they will take half for themselves. The shell starves them.
Right.
Rule and divide.
Right.
That's what is killing us here.
Okay.
And I don't know who is going to deliver us because it's terrible. It's continuously for years. All the states I call you. May God help us. Thank you and good morning.
Thank you and good morning to you too, Mr. Dogood. Appreciate you. We had to digress a little bit. He's referring to a report we brought to you earlier, in case you were wondering what he's actually talking about, the environmental degradation that affected one of the communities in Bayelsa State, and he's alluding to the corruption within the system, where the companies that are supposed to be responsible for compensation also...
And remediation.
There are certain under-the-table dealings that doesn't allow the beneficiaries of those compensations to actually benefit from it, and it's a very typical corruption, question. But I dare say that does not in any way take away the responsibility of Shell to make sure that it's actually living up to its responsibility of making things right. Because at the end of the day, if you're the one paying for the damages, you have to make sure that the beneficiaries are actually people affected by the damages caused by operations in that area.
Which doesn't take rocket science to identify.
Yeah, it's not rocket science. I mean, the environment is literally there. Yeah,
and it's the same thing with the subject of the day. If you're making distributions and it's not getting to the
and
last
the numbers are telling you that there are 80 million people who are facing food insecurity. It means that the palliative we're distributing is not reaching the people that need to get it.
Absolutely. All right. Good morning. Your name and where you're calling from.
Hello, good morning.
Mr. Oreyemi Olusegun is my name.
Good morning, Mr. Shegun.
Hello, good morning.
Yeah,
good morning, Mr. Shegun. Where are you calling from, please?
I'm calling from Ekiti State.
Interesting. Ekiti. Let us have your views this morning.
Yes, you see, the idea that they want to give to politicians to share, logically, you will say it's all right because it will be evenly distributed. But the problem we have is they will first settle themselves first. Settle all those political allies. It is the little that is remaining that will get to the people. I don't know if the government can take some of this palliative or all the palliatives out of anything politician and assign it to a neutral body. The only problem I also have is, you see, all Nigerians are thieves except the one that is godly. Because that same thing we are accusing politicians for. Individuals do the same. Only God will actually lift us out of this selfish thing. But you see, if we consider, if we look at politicians and other bodies, I think I prefer other bodies to share this thing than these politicians. Take an example. In Ekiti here, without any political sentiment, the governor that I know that have actually shared something and people have a fair share, and they can say actually they collected, was the time of Fayoshe. Governor Fayoshe will stand like this and ensure it gets to the common people. He will not mind, even a day, if the day is not enough, he will come back again and ensure it is shared to the common people. He will monitor it until it is done. But all these ones we have these days, most times, we see it being shared on the telly. Your next neighbor or some next neighbor around your area will not even carry a cup of rice and pass. But you can see them carry a bag of rice among them up there. To me, if the government can take it out of the politician and give it to the ministry, maybe we'll still have something better.
Thank you so much, Mr. Shegun. I appreciate you for calling in. Let's not also forget that the ministry responsible for all of these activities operationally is under heavy scrutiny right now. An investigation, I might add, by the EFCC regarding embezzlement. I think the former minister, Thier, has been compelled by a court now to give account of all the disbursements that were made in the Buhari years to Nigerians. So there's no question that we can scrutinize even the government institutions, your national social investment programs, and all the other instrumentality of government that is responsible. However, you can say that to a certain degree that there's some level of transparency there. However, when it comes to lawmakers, how much of data do they have available to identify? I know they can, through personal relationship, know certain areas and things like that. However, their structure is a political one, it's a partisan one.
And
how do they capture people that are not on their platform?
That's the point.
If he's an APC lawmaker, how does he capture people on the other side of the aisle?
Or
if he's a PDP member,
where he's got data that
exactly
they didn't
vote for him. So how does he take his
why
emotion
would he
out
want
of
to
the
empower
equation?
communities that went for his opponents?
Exactly.
Basically,
that is a stronghold of his opponent.
It's a stronghold of his opponent.
How does he treat them? Because we know sometimes emotions play a significant role in.
Which was the reason why the senators also canvassed for being part of the sharing formula. They
that
said
the governors
could
sideline them. Yeah.
Would sideline their constituency, especially if they are not from the same party. So it's something that's really difficult. But what touched me more from Segun's presentation is the fact that we find it extremely difficult to find trustworthy Nigerians. We've seen it with ministries. Things come to you from donor agencies that you're supposed to lead out. They take them to their houses and they are there. You don't have kids. You have brought in primary school textbooks and dumped them in your houses for several years without getting to the right persons. All right. Good morning. Your name and where you're calling from?
Good morning. This is Omar Bashir calling from Okehi Local Government in Kogi State.
Interesting. We are getting to another part of the North Central. Good morning, Omar.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you. Please go ahead.
The issue of this palliative distributed by the politicians, it's just unfortunate that our government has reduced us to palliative distributions. The last distribution they would give to the House of Representatives, one of the House of Rep member hold the palliative till the salary, this big salary, that he used it to share to people as his salary package. That was the palliative distributed by the federal government. So even the senators, when they came, they would distribute it to their political allies. But it's just unfortunate that the present government cannot find another alternative route and reduce the common Nigerian to palliative distributions. All the scarcity of food that we are having now, what is causing it? So majority of the people, most people that are giving these palliative contracts to, they have become millionaires within overnight. One will hold a trailer of rice. A government officials in my state diverted 1 trailer of rice and he forgot it in his farm. He just rotted there, about 600 bags, and it wasted there. But it's unfortunate that if our government cannot find another alternative than reduce a common Nigerian to palliative distribution. Thank you. That's my contribution.
Thank you very much, Umar. I appreciate you for the call. And that, to me, captures the essence of the conversation, really. Because at the end of the day, most politicians, as I did say, listen, at the core of every other politician, right? And I'm not saying all politicians are bad, but they care about winning the next election. And they'll do whatever they can using the instrumentality of their office or the resources available to them, whether it's personal or public resources, to garner support, to maintain loyalty of their supporters. And more often than not, that's what we see play out every other election circle. Just listen to what Umar had to say about that political figure who kept it all this while, just so he could take the glory towards Eid and
we
saw
that in Edo
from the
State
magnanimity of my office, this is what I have for my people.
We saw that in Edo State, and in my time in Lagos, in one of the constituencies, I also saw it. I was invited, and I showed up at a constituency project distribution. But the label on the items, we were reading the name of the politician, and it made it look like this thing was out of his pocket. Yeah. So there's a lot that need to change. But the point that Umar made, which is fundamental, is that we have to develop this society to the point where we don't even need to do these palliative distributions. At any rate, if this is where we are and we want to do them, with a lot of results, we know what to do. We know where the churches are. We know where the mosques are. These faith-based communities can identify indigent persons in their localities. We know the various farmer associations we have, from the rice farmers, to wheat farmers. And so if it is fertilizer you are distributing, the right persons to speak with. The relevant formative group that you can organize. And you do that when you are looking for vote. But suddenly when there are palliatives to be distributed somehow.
Do you know any country that goes through this difficulty when it comes to aid distribution?
No, absolutely not. Even in the US, during the COVID, where you had people who were there on temporary visas, the palliatives got to them. And we saw that also in Europe. Because they understand that the problem, nobody was isolated from what the difficulties were. Numbers and houses, you just needed some kind of
data. It's data driven.
Data.
It's
absolutely.
And logistically, we have the technology now to track, to monitor, to guarantee that if I say I've sent a particular item to you, there's a way to prove it.
That's right.
I mean, we have delivery systems across this country. So it's just perplexing that our politicians, out of self-serving political interests, have
and how do you explain a politician who doesn't have a community outreach office?
Yes,
suddenly being the best person to share palliatives to the community.
You can easily tell that it's more about them scoring political points than it is about actually doing the job of getting to the needy what they actually need. And in this case, we're talking about farmers. My goodness.
Yeah.
If actual farmers don't get it, and political stooges or political farmers get it, guess what? They're only going to take it to the market so that the real farmers will go and buy at a very expensive price, and that is counterproductive in the long run.
All right, that's the much that time would allow us take as far as the phone calls are concerned. I hope we were able to extract as much value as possible from that engagement.